Good morning, dear students. Let us begin from here today. The same topic, the rat trap. The lines from the textbook are: the stranger must have seemed incredulous, for the old man got up and went to the window, took down a leather pouch which hung on a nail in the very window frame, and picked out three wrinkled 10 kroner bills. These he held up before the eyes of his guest, nodding knowingly, and then stuffed them back into the pouch. Nodding means here shaking the head positively. Incredulous means here unbelieving. Stuffed means to fill up with something. Explanation of the above lines is: the rat trap seller did not believe the old man's words that a cow could earn him so much. Therefore, the old man took a leather pouch which hung on a window, and took out three notes of a 10 kroner each, which were old and crushed. He showed those currency notes to make him believe his words, and then kept them back in the pouch. Further lines from the textbook are: the next day both men got up in good season. Good season means here early in the morning. The crofter was in a hurry to milk his cow, and the other man probably means perhaps, thought he should not stay in bed when the head of the house had gotten up. They left the cottage at the same time. The crofter locked the door and put the key in his pocket. The man with the rat traps said goodbye and thank you, and thereupon each went his own way. In a good season means here early enough. Explanation of the above passage is: next morning both the rat trap seller and the crofter woke up early, as the crofter was in a hurry to milk his cow. Even the rat trap seller felt that as the owner of the house had awakened, so he should also leave the bed. They both came out of the cottage at the same time. The old man locked the door and went to his work. The rat trap seller also thanked him and went his own way. Further lines from the textbook are: but half an hour later, the rat trap peddler, means seller, stood again before the door. He did not try to get in, however. He only went up to the window, smashed a pane. Smashed means here broke. It struck in his hand, and got hold of the pouch with the 30 kroner. He took the money and thrust it into his own pocket. Then he hung the leather pouch very carefully back in its place and went away. Peddler means here seller. Smashed means badly broken. Explanation of the above passage is: after half an hour, the rat trap seller returned to the cottage, means same cottage of the crofter, and he broke down the window pane where the pouch hung. He took away the money, kept it in his pocket, put the pouch back at its place, and walked off. Further lines from the textbook are: as he walked along with the money in his pocket, he felt quite pleased with his smartness. He realized, of course, that at first he dared not continue on the public highway, but must turn off the road into the woods. During the first hours, this caused him no difficulty. Later in the day, it became worse, for it was a big and confusing forest which he had gotten into. He tried to be sure to walk in a definite direction, but the paths twisted back and forth so strangely. He walked and walked without coming to the end of the wood. Wood means here forest. And finally he realized that he had only been walking around in the same part of the forest. Further lines are: All at once he recalled his thoughts about the world and the rat trap. Now his own turn had come. He had let himself be fooled by a bait and had been caught. The whole forest, with its trunks and branches, its thickets and fallen logs, closed in upon him like an impenetrable prison from which he could never escape. Dear students, thickets means here a dense group of bushes. Impenetrable means impassable. Explanation of the above passage is: the peddler was quite happy as he had money in his pocket. He then thought of walking through the forest as it was unsafe to walk on the highway because he feared being caught. So initially it was not difficult to walk through the forest, but later on it got confusing for him as he forgot his way. He tried hard to walk in the right direction, but in vain. Vain means here useless. As he found himself at the same place again and again, at this point of time, he started thinking that now he himself was caught in the trap of the world, just like other people. He was fooled by the bait of money which he had stolen from the old man's house. The forest seemed like a prison full of trunks and branches. It was like an impassable prison. Further lines from the textbook are: it was late in December. Darkness was already descending over the forest. This increased the danger and increased also his gloom and despair. Finally, he saw no way out and he sank down on the ground, tired to death, thinking that his last moment had come. But just as he laid his head on the ground, he heard a sound, a hard, regular thumping. There was no doubt as to what that was. He raised himself. Those are the hammer strokes from an iron mill, he thought. There must be people nearby. He summoned all his strength, got up, and staggered in the direction of the sound. Dear students, let us have some of the word meanings over here. Gloom means here dark. Despair means hopelessness. Thumping means the sound of some heavy object beating. Summoned means here gathered. Stagger means to walk with difficulty. Explanation of the above passage is: as it was the month of December, it got dark early. As it got dark, his hope of escaping the forest reduced. The danger to his life increased, and so did his feeling of being hopeless. There was no way left for him, so he sat on the ground and was so tired and terrified that he thought this was his last moment and soon he would die. As he laid his head on the ground, he heard a very strong, regular sound. It was a hard sound that was coming at the regular intervals. He soon realized that these sounds were the sounds of hammer strokes from an iron mill. He thought that he could find some people nearby. With this thought, he gathered some strength and started walking with great difficulty towards the direction of the sound. Further lines from the textbook are: the Ramsjo Iron Works, this is the name of the iron factory, which are now closed down, were not so long ago a large plant with smelter, rolling mill, and forge. In the summertime, long lines of heavily loaded barges and schows slid down the canal which led to a large inland lake, and in the winter time the roads near the mill were black from all the coal dust which sifted down from the big charcoal crates. So this paragraph is different from other paragraphs because now it is going to describe about what was happening in the iron factory and how anybody could guess that there was nearby an iron factory. So forge means here a shop where metal is heated. Barge means a long flat bottomed boat for carrying freight on canals and rivers. Scoop means a flat bottomed boat used for transporting cargo to and fro ships in harbor. Okay. Sifted means here descended highly, lightly or sparsely as if sprinkled from a sieve. Smelter means here a machine in which metal is melted to form into a shape. Rolling mill means machine to roll metal into sheets. The explanation of the above passage is the Ramsjo Iron Works was a large plant which had shut down few years ago. It had a smelter, rolling mill, and a forge. In summers, long flat bottomed boat carrying the material would come down the canal which led to a large inland lake for supplying material to the mill, and in winters the roads turned black because of the coal dust that came along due to the transportation of the charcoal crates. So, dear students, let us have only the explanations of these passages, and further explanations will be made in the further or next lectures. Thank you.